All I can tell you is there's not a bad song on that album. That's I think it was last year's album, Avril Lavigne. That's really fucking good, man. That's Love It When You Hate Me. But if you're watching the show after the fact, of course, that's going to be cut out because what am I, a maroon? It's good to see you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Gabbing Games. It's not Gabbing Games, it's Jaffe Talks Games. It's our morning show here on the YouTube channel. Are we talking Transformers yet? Not yet, but we're about to. We're going to talk about Transformers a little bit today, and we are going to talk about just some video game news as well. We're going to get to some news. We're going to talk about Transformers. We're going to talk about sort of some game design theory questions I have that have come up on the internet. I do want to get to this question, though. It's a really good question from Kalinks, who just dropped in with the first super chat of the day. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, did you fully review Indy? What are your thoughts on Indy? Will you do? I assume he is from merry old England. Well, here's what I'll tell you, bud. Coming up, let me share this screen with you so we can all see it together. Coming up this Thursday. Hang on, where'd the screen go? Entire screen. What? There we go. Coming up this Thursday. Let's make sure it works. Entire screen. Boom. Coming up this Thursday. There you go, buddy. Indiana Jones, The Great Circle. Victor Lucas will be here with me on Thursday at 5 p.m. We will be talking about the possible Switch 2 reveal that will have happened earlier that day or the day before. And then, of course, Victor and I will start diving deep into what was his game of the year in 2024 and what has been my game of the year of 2024. Matthew says it was Jaffe's game of the year, but that doesn't mean he played it all the way through. Well, you're wrong, sir. I played the whole goddamn thing. I loved it. I have not 100%ed it. I want 100% it, and I'll get to that later in the show as well, just about, how fucking difficult, I saw a news story today about, sorry, I'm moving. Yesterday, if you were watching the show, we had all kinds of glitches and shit, and so I'm having to move things around. I saw a news story today about somebody getting excited about CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk, which I need to go back to, and I don't know. I guess it's like anything else in your life. If it's important to you, you make time for it, and if it's not, you say you care about it, but you really don't. There's so many things that I want to play that are coming, that are here, and that have already come and gone from the zeitgeist, Cyberpunk being one of them. I played about 12 hours of it. I loved it. And I got busy with other things, and I always mean to go back to it. I'm like, I'll wait for the Idris Elba DLC, which came and went. And I really want to get back to that game because I loved it. I don't know when I'm going to fucking have the time. So when I say I'm going to 100% Indiana Jones, yeah, we'll see. There's just too many things to play, man. There's too many things to play. So, Addy Pie says Rebel Wolves' new game looks fantastic. It does look really good. I agree. We watched the trailer yesterday, and then I saw a guy. He's got a growing channel. I don't. You guys may know who this is. I don't. Excuse me. I haven't heard of this guy before recently, but I've started to see more and more of his channel. And he had a video up. Let me see if I can find it real quick. He had a video up about that game. And I was like going, where did he get his news from? Because it seemed like he had some more information about the moment-to-moment gameplay of what is it called? Something about Bloodwater or something, but it's basically, people are calling it like The Witcher. What the fuck is that thing called? I don't know, but you basically play like The Witcher, and you're like a vampire. right? And it's really, really cool. And it's set like in old school Transylvania, and it's neat, and I like it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Blood of Dawnwalker is what it's called. Well, this guy, Slandered Gaming is his name. And he was talking about it on his show today. And I guess it was interesting. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the show, because there were some things he knew about the game, like the day and night cycles and time limits on the missions. And I was like, where is he getting that information from? But it sounded really, really cool. I am with you. Believe it or not, Addy Pie, I actually agree with you on something. I think it sounds really cool, really delightful. So I'm looking forward to it. Who the fuck knows when it's going to come out? I mean, that's the other thing. It's probably going to be a very, very long time before we get hands-on with that title. But, you know, I'm okay waiting. It looks really fucking great, man. Matthew says, Jaffe, I've not gotten back to Cyberpunk either. I almost bought the complete edition last night, but I bought Baldur's Gate 3 instead. I want to get back. I've gotten into playing Dungeons and Dragons, and as I've gotten into playing D&D, I want like real life D&D. I want to go back and I want to spend time playing actual the Baldur's Gate, because when I first played Baldur's Gate, I wasn't playing it with the awareness of how the D&D rule set works. So yeah, I mean, you know, and I get it. I mean, it's the business. That's what works. People like the long games. They like, I mean, they don't necessarily, but they like the games they can get sucked into and never have to leave. And the business makes tons of money when they get a hit like that. I don't think it's good for the medium, but you know, whether it's good or bad for the medium, who gives a shit, I guess. If people are making money, they're making money. Carlos says, I know how you feel. I like a JRPG. It's a nightmare if you want to play more than one a month, right? I mean, you know, and again, that's the interesting part to me is I don't think, I don't think it is good for the medium, for the art form. It simply isn't. It can't be. But you know, try convincing people of that. Try convincing the market of that. Try convincing, the game publishers of that. It's no one cares because they're making the money, and I get it. I just hate it. I fucking hate that that's the way it is. Hopefully, it'll change. One of the reasons I like Game Pass so much and subscription services so much, which are growing. We talked about that yesterday. 12% increase last year. We have not really gotten into topics yet. Avoid the void. We're just getting started. Matthew says, I like short games as long as I feel richer for the experience. I don't care how long the game is. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Just because it's short doesn't make it good. But, you know, there is something to be said, at least in single player games, about having a beginning, middle, and end, and having a sense of catharsis and a sense of completion and a sense of moving through the process and the experience. And it's really hard to get that when the game's like 80 hours fucking long, man. They counter it with with compilations, like a compilation game of last. Wait, I don't understand mutant mode. They counter it with compilations, like a compilation game of last bosses that people never see. Have they done that? I mean, that's an interesting idea, but I'm not sure what you're talking about. Am I going to leak the Switch 2? I really don't have any data on the Switch 2 other than what we shared yesterday. Later in this show today, we are going to be talking about some of the rumored Switch 2 games that may be coming. Last night, I'm pretty convinced that Metal Gear Solid Delta is going to be a launch title, and it's going to be a console timed exclusive for the Switch 2. Addy Pie says, why do people care about the Switch 2? It's going to be an outdated piece of hardware the second it comes out. Well, that's every piece of hardware that comes out. But that said, you know, I mean, I was stunned. I ran a poll yesterday because I'll wait for the Switch 2 news and see if I want to buy one, but I'm with you. I'm not in the immediate market for a Switch 2 compared to like a ROG Ally or an updated Steam Deck, but I probably want the Ally. The more I hear about it, the X and what it's going to be able to run, it seems odd. It seems odd why I would want to switch other than the first party stuff, but you know, the first party stuff's great, but I'm kind of over it at the moment, but we'll see what the preview, you know, if they show some great trailers in the next few weeks, I think all is forgiven. All is fucking forgiven. Stanley says, why can't games be all shapes and sizes? They are. And that's one of the great things about the indie space. It's just the problem with it is, though, is that the indie space where you do get a lot of games that are 2 hours, 3 hours, and people are taking chances, it's really frustrating to see such a lack of interest from most people. And I don't know what that says about the medium. I mean, maybe the scale is the same, right? Where if you look at a big blockbuster movie like Wicked or the new Sonic, and then you go a blockbuster or a successful indie movie is like, okay, it's only going to get 10% of the people who went to Wicked. It may be the same. If you look at a big game that's successful like Madden or Call of Duty, it may only be that 10% of the audience is going to care about mouthwashing or while we remain or Among Ashes. But it's still, it's because the number of people who play is so much smaller than the number of people who watch linear media that's why those small games, maybe you can make a living making them, but they don't really hit the culture in anywhere near the same way. So that's what's frustrating about it to me, I guess. And plus I want people to see those games. I want people to play and experience these things, but so many people, and why? I don't know. Cause I love them. I guess when you find something you love, you want to share it with people. You want to say, look at this fucking thing's so fucking cool. And people just sort of don't really care. And that's frustrating because it's so cool, man. But it is what it is. By the way, if you want to call into the show, let me put the thing up here. You can click the link right here. I'll also pin it to the top of the YouTube. So if you want to call in and be part of this amazing show, this amazing cavalcade of creative cornucopia contisserie, you can do that. You may do that, but I gotta find where the YouTube channel is. Hang on. There's Tech Protect. Where you been, pal? We had a call this morning. Tech Protect is on the sauce, is what I think. Which look, I've said it before. There's a lot of really bad habits people can get into. Alcoholism, I think, has to be the worst. I mean, that's maybe not true. They're all bad. Mine is eating. Eating is bad. But alcoholism seems like this thing that, you're constantly having to think about not falling off the wagon. I don't know if that's true. If you're an alcoholic and you're watching, let me know. I know some alcoholics. I didn't know they were alcoholics. And what are you talking about, Jaffe? Shut up. Shut up. Shh. I'm just trying to get this link. Hang on one second. But that's got to be fucking brutal, man. It's got to be fucking brutal. So my heart goes out to you if you're out there struggling with that for sure. All right, let me put the link here. I'm gonna game. Fuck off, Addy Pie. I'll get to games. Just hang on. Fucking putting the chat up so people can call in. You piece of shit. All right, if you're watching on the YouTube, it's now to the top there. Okay. Hello, Cantankerous. Happy Tuesday too. And I'll tell you something else. Oh, look at this. K-Nub says, I'm 2 weeks sober. Congrats, sir. Down 5 pounds. I was tired of making an ass of myself on this channel in the Discord. Well, I don't know about that because I usually ignore everything you write, but it's not true. It's not true. But congratulations. That's excellent, sir. But yeah, I would say that it's got to be tough. Okay. Another thing is third-party publishers have learned not to do even timed exclusives. Square being the latest, they're not profitable. Yeah, but I mean, look, that's the way that shit's going to be. I mean, we've got to embrace that. I mean, this is the most fascinating thing to me is moving forward. I understand Nintendo's business strategy for the next generation. I understand Sony's business strategy for the next generation. I don't understand, as much as Xbox right now is my favorite third or first party publisher, whatever the fuck these people are anymore. I've just loved this generation for them. It's been exciting to follow. It's been really cool to play. I love their ecosystem, but it's really strange because the idea that they're going to make more hardware, and I'm like, why? I don't. who's going to buy an Xbox? I mean, I get it. Here's their thought, right? Everything is coming to PlayStation, including, it sounds like Halo, which I think we're definitely going to talk about that today. Everything's coming to PlayStation, and or Nintendo, and or PC, and or your TV if you have cloud gaming and you're streaming it on Game Pass. So the only reason you would buy Xbox hardware next generation would be because your library, like, you're only taking care of old Xbox fans at that point. Why would you invest in that hardware? So I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. Like, what is the point of that? But I mean, clearly can you imagine? I mean, what kind of moron would walk into a store and buy an Xbox X2 or whatever the fucking thing they're going to, at this point, like, when it comes out? Why would you? They've not earned a goddamn reason. Like, even if they had failed this generation, but they had the games they're having now and they come out next generation and go, cool. But if you want to play the new Indiana Jones, Indy 2, or if you want to play Gears or all these games, you got to have an Xbox console or PC Game Pass. But that's not even the strategy anymore. Who the fuck knows what they're doing? So again, I mean, it's not my job. They haven't revealed it. I'm sure they've got some kind of plan. K-Nub says Jaffe's looking like the worst Assassin's Creed character. They'll hear his footsteps a mile away. Maybe it's time to start drinking again, K-Nubs. Just a thought. Somebody send K-Nub some schnapps, please. Do people still drink schnapps? Remember they used to drink wine and buy? It doesn't matter. But yeah, Victor will be here Thursday. That'll be a lot of fun. Let's get to a little bit of news, see what's going on in the world of video games that we all love so much. Come on now. Did I tell you guys, as I've gotten older, I have fallen more and more in love with video games. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just that you feel the body getting older, or you recognize just more and more unfairness in life. And so the world of video games seems great to escape into. Remember that video everybody was making fun of about 10, 15 years ago? I'm not going to search for it. I don't care. But if you haven't seen it, it's really cringy. Everybody made fun of it. This guy made this video. And he's like, why does everybody tell me I need to go outside? Why does everybody tell me I should get a job or whatever? I don't fucking know. I'm the hero, and I've been Commander Shepard. I've saved the princess hundreds of times. I'm a gamer, blah, blah, blah. And it is very cringy. It is very embarrassing for the individual who made it. But at the same time, though, the older I get, the more unfair I see society is, or how unfair it is. And the more I see the bullshit line that a lot of people are fed by the people in power to keep everybody working and hustling, the more I appreciate video games. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you, 1%. You guys win. You need me. I'll be living my life in this virtual world because go fuck yourself, because you fucked everything up. Isn't that terrible? I went outside. The graphics were good, but the gameplay sucks, says Merc. Tell me that's not already a t-shirt. And if it's not, make it a t-shirt and go make yourself a lot of money. That's great. It's got to be a t-shirt. It's got to be a saying already. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think seriously, I think the older I get, the more I love the video games. That's just true. That's just fucking true. But yeah, as we were talking earlier, I saw Dawnwalker. We might talk about it a little bit later in the show. I thought it looked really, really great. Conceptually speaking, it looked really, really great. I don't know what the game is yet, but I'm interested for sure. Okay. Let's just talk a little bit. Let's shoot the shit about the video games. This isn't big news, but it's big news for a fellow like me. The folks over at Trick or Treat Studios have started putting out their the goddamn stuff they're going to be selling for Halloween time. And who's up there? Your boy Sweet Tooth and his machete. I love that machete. Gary Barth, who does so many of all the props and trade shows, and he's just kind of the behind the scenes effects guy at Sony on all kinds of different projects. Got a whole team there. I remember he called me once. He says, what do you think about putting holes in Sweet Tooth's machete? because it would kind of be like the polka dots. And I said, oh, that's brilliant. That's excellent. And I have loved seeing that design sort of become canon for him and carry over into the TV show, and now carrying over, obviously, into the costumes that's based on the TV show. So this is pretty cool. I didn't like above it there. There's John Carver from Thanksgiving was a terrible fucking movie. The call-in link's not working for you? Hang on. Let me put it back up for you here. Add guest, copy link. Tell me if this works or not. Try that. Yeah, but I'm excited for that. But yeah, I expected a lot more after the Thanksgiving trailer from Eli Roth, and the movie I thought was pretty dumb. But that's cool to see Twisted Metal up there, man. What else they got? They put their whole catalog out. I think they did. Yeah, Trick or Treat catalog is here. What do they got here? Oh, okay. Well, maybe we'll watch this a little bit later because I love the Halloween. I'll put that down there. I'll put that down there. Chat says I've seen. Eternal says I've seen more and more people making their own homes that are self-sustained, looking more appealing every day. Yeah. I mean, I know it's terrible. I know it sucks that it's become acceptable, but stuff's kind of shitty out there. Am I for or against Elon buying TikTok? I'm against Elon Musk buying TikTok. I cannot stand Elon Musk. I think he's a man in a great deal of trouble and crisis mentally. I don't think he's a very healthy fella. And so in that, he has my sympathy. But I don't think I want you to think about this, whether it's Jeff Bezos with the Washington Post, whether it's Elon Musk with TikTok and Twitter. I don't think the richest people in the world owning the biggest communication devices on the planet is a good idea. I'm sorry, but I don't know how anyone can think this is a good idea. Do they have the right? I guess at the moment, legally. But what are you talking about? No, these are horrible ideas. I mean, we need more regulation. I know a lot of Republicans don't agree with that, but frankly, when you get a megaphone as powerful as Twitter and all these other fucking things, I think you come to a point where you have to say, every 3 years, you got to rotate the leadership out. You got to do something. I don't think social media should be owned by the government, John, because then you get into the problem of what was the newspaper Pravda in Russia? Then you just get into propaganda. There's got to be a balance there, and you've got to motivate people with competition and with building a better mousetrap and shit like that. But no, I think the way it's going now is really dangerous. Okay. Blue Gamer says better than the government silence. Everybody silences. We are the government. Okay. Everybody's going to silence you, whether it's Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos with the political cartoons, Joe Biden wanting to remove stuff about COVID, or Trump wanting to Trump literally is on audio tape telling Bob Woodward about he knew how bad COVID was, but he didn't want to tell people how bad it was. Everyone's going to silence for their own benefit. And so, no, I don't think it's better or worse than the government, because frankly, it's all the fucking same. Okay, I did not. Matthew says, did anybody see the video of Elon's kid giving away his master plan in an interview? No, send it to me. Am I a hater? Fine with me. Make me a hater. I don't give a fuck. I'm sorry. If you think, look, if you really, I don't even understand you, frankly. If you've drank, look, do I think here's what I like about Elon Musk. I like that Elon Musk has taken his money and he has made some really risky, stupidly cool investments, some of which may or may not, but seem like they could potentially pay off. And I think that's cool. He's done investments nobody else with a logical mind would do. Whether you're talking the Cyberlink shit or the satellites, or trying to build tunnels underground to relieve congestion go with God, Elon Musk. But I think he's out of his fucking mind. I think he is a sociopath. I think he is dealing with real mental health issues. And I'm sorry, he is not the guy I think any of us should be trusting to run something like Twitter and TikTok. But that's my take. Do with it what you want. Okay. Roadkill says, Elon Musk is for free. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Not getting into it with you guys. Tech Protect. What do we move on from this? Or we stay with it? Up to you guys. You guys know I'll talk about this shit all day. I'll talk about this shit all day, but I need Tech Protect to tell me if we're getting in the weeds too much. Yeah, Daniel, I agree. He's made interesting investments, but he's not a good person. I agree. Okay. Blue Gamer says we should move on. Sky says Elon's brain's been fried by ketamine. I mean, unless he does a lot of it, ketamine can be really good for you. I know people who've been on ketamine. It's been very, very fucking helpful for them. But yeah, if you, like anything else, if you abuse the shit out of it, you're fucked. Okay. Okay. I look like a hoodlum. What are you, 80 years old? You're a hoodlum. Okay. Well, anyway, you know what I feel about it. I'll wait. If Tech Protect feels we need to get back in the weeds with it, I'm trusting him to determine whether we need to stay or move on to a topic. But I want to bring in our first call, and then I want to let you know that we are going to be moving on after this call. Here's what's on the docket for today. We're going to look at the Until Dawn movie trailer or movie teaser that just dropped. That finally came out. That's going to be interesting to watch. Sony's filed some new patents. We're going to talk about Dynasty Warriors just came out. Nobody's talking about it. We got some interesting morning news, and of course, we're going to get into Transformers a little bit later in the show as well. We're going to be getting into the Nintendo Switch titles for Switch 2 that are rumored to be on the way. Here's longtime listener member David Seeger of David Seeger and the Silver Bullet Band. David Seeger, it is Jaffe. How you doing, buddy? You're from England, right?
No, I'm from Philly, man.
Let's pretend. Let me have to see.
It's all right. Cheerio, Jaffe.
My Neil Gaiman fantasy has been ruined, so at least let me have my David Seeger one. What's going on, man?
Yeah, nothing. Just curious with the rumors that have come out. Don't know if they're yesterday or today that Halo will be launching on PlayStation and Nintendo this year.
Yes.
Do you think that my opinion is optically it's a loss for Microsoft, but long term I think it's a win for like 3 to 5 years down the line, especially when the new Halo games using Unreal Engine come out. I think that this strategy is a win for Microsoft from a revenue perspective and from and just from a brand awareness perspective, since it'll be on multiple platforms. But I think it'll definitely cause a lack of caring about any of their hardware releases.
Oh, was there? No, I just know if there was a question coming.
No, just what are your thoughts? Do you think that
I was just looking into your dreamy eyes. Yeah, no, I'm kidding with you. So what I thought is the same thing I said earlier. Look, I think two things on this with the Halo thing. I think that Xbox must, as much as they seem to want to prove the opposite, they can't be as stupid as they seem. Right? They are one of the most successful companies on the planet. They don't need us backseat drivers going, well, what, if you put everything on everything else, why is anyone going to buy your hardware? There's no way they haven't sat down and thought this out. But regardless, though, you're right. All that we're left to do in the vacuum of a lack of information is go, what are you doing if you're it would make sense if they said we're going third party. It would make sense if they said, we're only going to be Game Pass and we're getting out of hardware. Cool. But the fact that they're not is weird. But so it's very confusing. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But as for Halo, why I'm most interested, because I'm one of the people, I was very vocal. I liked the Halo Infinite campaign. I'm kind of like a Dragon Age Halo fan in the sense that I don't have a lot invested in the Halo lore, so it didn't bother me maybe that it wasn't what was expected, because I didn't have any expectations of Halo other than I've played it a little bit, but I never really finished a Halo game. So I played this campaign. I enjoyed it. I played the multiplayer. I enjoyed it. I liked when Forge came to it and everybody had all kinds of crazy levels. I enjoyed it. My theory has always been with Halo in a lot of these games, but certainly Halo, that the hate it got was more from Sony fans. I'm not saying that there weren't valid problems with Halo Infinite. There were, clearly, that a lot of people like our very own Eddie Torres can articulate well, much better than me. He plays it all the time. But even with all that, I think the zeitgeist got a hold of it and wanted to shit on it on social media and kind of send a message of what Halo was, which was disappointing and bad. So I think it's going to be very fascinating to watch when it comes, especially to PlayStation. If it is successful, it almost seems like the whole, suddenly now everybody loves it, and you're going to see that narrative shift. But I think Halo, even though I liked Halo Infinite, I think conceptually it's a dead IP. I don't think they have not done... They haven't nurtured and taken care of it well enough to do what they did with Sony with God of War, where even though I don't particularly like the new God of War game, I appreciate the success of it, and I appreciate the need for Corey and those guys to go in and make some serious changes to keep it relevant. Halo, I think it's a 90s kid game. And other than nostalgia, today's kids aren't rushing to go, I can't wait for more Master Chief. So I'm fascinated to see when it does come to Sony, is suddenly it's going to be like, oh, yeah, we love it now. We just hated it because they were the other team, because how these people are a lot of times.
Well, yeah, and my opinion on it too is even if it doesn't do well, if it sells 1 million copies at $70, that's 70% of that's just added revenue to Microsoft. So it allows them to kind of just, well, especially with Call of Duty and other things, in my mind, it allows them to build a capital war chest, basically, which they don't even need compared to their competitors from a financial standpoint, but it just exasperates that problem for PlayStation because they're only making 30% off of Halo. Microsoft's making 70%.
I mean, I'm with you. I keep waiting for Microsoft to say we're out of hardware and we're going to get out of hardware and we're going to make a deal with Sony that if we get out of hardware, not that they're a threat to Sony, then we can put Game Pass on your system. But regard on the PlayStation. But I like I said, as a fan of Halo, though, if we just speak to Halo Infinite, and also the Master Chief Collection, I think, is the one that's rumored to launch on the Switch too. If we just stick to Halo, though, I really loved Halo Infinite, and so the idea that a whole new group of players that were going to be able to come in now and start making content for Forge and start making filling up the lobbies and all these things, I think that's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, same here. Are you looking forward to the new Assassin's Creed, or is that a skip for you?
No, I can't wait. I'm very excited for it. I know that, again, this has been the 12-month period where I tend to like things everybody hates, but I love Star Wars Outlaws. I love Dragon Age. And Assassin's Creed, everything I've seen so far, which is I've watched all 3 of the deep dives and on their website, it looks cool, man. The 2 characters, the way they control looks cool. The grappling hook looks cool. The new parkour where you've got to be more measured about, you can't just climb anything. It's very specific. I mean, I'm super interested in that game. And it looks visually great.
I started replaying Odyssey just to get back in the mood, and I forgot how good that game is.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they're doing isn't that the one that's doing the Seasons Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, I'm curious about that. Like it may just be lip service and it may not really matter, but if the levels really change between summer and winter, and you still can bring your familiarity of the level design and the game design, but now you have to shift to the fact that, okay, but things are frosted over now and there's snow and it's affecting visibility. I'm super interested in that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. If that works and it's not like a gimmick, that will be really cool.
Yeah, I agree. All right, David Seeger, thank you, buddy. Be well.
Have a good one.
You too. There he goes off into the evening. Warped Eye says, I loaded up Star Wars Outlaws for the first time a few days ago. I was dumbfounded and delighted. This is the story of my life. To see all the accessibility options. Yeah, I dug it quite a bit. Mutant Mo says he wants the Witch Assassin's Creed. Right. The rumored Assassin's Creed After Shadows is one set like in the Salem witch trial period, which I am fucking all over. I think that is awesome. What a great setting for a game. I did play Banishers, which I loved. I need to finish it. Great fucking game. But the idea of a big budget Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow witch trial-ish fucking Assassin's Creed, I think that sounds excellent. Jonathan says Jaffe has to defend every game everyone else hates. It really isn't true though, Jonathan. It's just I'm trying to think what it is. Okay, so every game that I really like, I can articulate my defense of, and I can usually appreciate the hate of. The problem is so many people on the internet don't want nuanced conversation, right? I'm either supposed to love it or hate it. I'm either a fan of Alabama and I hate Auburn, or I love Auburn and I hate Alabama, right? I know you're a geek, Jonathan. That's football talk for us real men. I understand that on the internet, things have to be binary like that, but I'm sorry. I'm fluid when it comes to my opinions. And take Dragon Age, as I've said ad nauseum. Dragon Age, if you're a Dragon Age fan of old, remember your Hunter from the Future? You probably don't. I'm an old man. Look at this poster, though. I got to show you the poster. Remind me, Jonathan, what we were talking about. Your Hunter from the Future came out in 1983. Can you imagine being a young lad as I was in that time frame of life, and this was the movie poster that you saw in the theater? Why can't I get a big movie poster? Hang on. And I'm like, okay, it's a caveman, but there's UFOs and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck are you people talking about? This is the greatest thing ever. It was rubbish, of course, but come on, your Hunter of the Future. I don't know what to tell you. The point is, though, is that, yeah, man, if you are a passionate fan of Dragon Age from back in the day, Jonathan, I get it. I understand why you would say this is not for me. They shat the bed on this because they made a totally different kind of game tonally, right? I understand. It's a valid point, but I'm able to articulate, yeah, but that's not my point because I don't have that relationship with Dragon Age, right? Star Wars, I understand you can, the whole is better than the sum of its parts for someone like me who was a kid of the 70s that grew up with OG Star Wars, because that game is the best ever Star Wars simulator ever, better than any other Star Wars game ever. But as a moment-to-moment game, no, it's not the best game of the year. It doesn't have the best stealth, the best combat. The difference is, though, is that, again, I don't need to be, I don't need my food fed to me mentally through a straw. That's a metaphor, Jonathan. And so I can have nuanced takes on things. And I'm sorry you can't. It must be disappointing, but probably not disappointing. Because if you don't know, you probably don't know what you're missing. So, okay. The thing is, says Johnny Utah, majority of people enjoy Outlaws and Veilguard. I don't know if that's true. To go to the internet, somebody that would not be what you see. That statement. I mean, I certainly do. But all right, let's move on though. Let's get to the Until Dawn teaser. I thought Until Dawn was a really fun game. What's the link to call in? If you're watching on YouTube, it should be at the very top of the YouTube. But if you want to call in, I'll put it here again in the chat for you. But if you're watching YouTube, it should already be at the top. Doesn't it say? Isn't there a pin thing at the top? Is that not working? Should I repin a different one? But yeah, I'm not consciously a contrarian. Look, one of the games I'm loving right now is Marvel Rivals. So shut up. Okay, Until Dawn comes to theaters April 25th. This is the first we're seeing about it. My understanding is they're changing the story a little bit. I don't have a real problem with that, but so far, PlayStation Productions. I'm not taking calls on the Discord today because it's not hooked up. The pink pin link is not the call-in. Okay. Okay. Well, let me fix that really quickly, and then we'll watch this trailer. Tech Protect, are you there? Tech Protect. Yeah, that's not it. You're right. Unpin the message. You are correct, my friends. Here is the proper message for you. Pin message. Okay. That should work. If you see people in the chat text saying it's not, let me know and we'll try to figure it out together. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Okay. I don't want to let it sink in. Stanley says Outlaws sold less than Astrobot. Let that sink in. I don't care. Okay, Until Dawn. Here we go. Let's watch this trailer together as pals do. Let's see what we think. I've not seen it yet. Maybe you guys have already seen it, but I like the game. I like Supermassive's games, but I have no idea what to expect with this. Here we go. That sounds awesome. Sorry, I don't mean to eat and have a Jolly Rancher, but one moment. That sounds fantastic. What are you talking about? I like how PlayStation Productions seems to consistently get the vibe, of everything that they make. It's like, yeah, they're not making the actual Until Dawn story exactly, but the essence, the idea of how that game worked is actually baked into the narrative. That's kind of cool, man. I like that. Dark Cloud says Sony's focus more on making movies based on its games rather than making actual games. Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it, but I saw a thread on NeoGAF that said that Sony right now has more announced movies based on their games than announced games. So, I don't know. I had a dream the other night, by the way, speaking of big budget Sony games, that I was back at Sony Santa Monica just hanging out, and Corey was showing me his new game, which was codenamed Sparkle. What? And it's all and then I woke up. What are you talking about? But I don't know. I don't know when we're going to hear more about games from them. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Although yesterday's thing that we talked about, the Project Gummy Bear from Bungie, does sound pretty cool. Carlos says making a movie is easier than making a game. Apparently, it is staggeringly easier and cheaper to make a movie than a game. 100% easy, at least at that scope, at that level. Yes, you are correct. Okay. I dream about Sony Santa Monica all the time, Lammy. Yes, all the time. It's a recurring dream. It must mean something, but I haven't figured out what it means. Okay. Kay, you're on the show. What's going on?
Hey, David.
Hello.
I had a question, but it's not exactly about the Until Dawn stuff.
I don't care. What do you want to talk about, Kay, other than the fact that your parents named you after a letter in the alphabet and then got bored?
Yeah, my parents were neglectful.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So I know early what we were talking about with the Halo possibly going to like Switch and PlayStation, and I know Microsoft is pivoting to kind of a more like sort of third-party publisher strategy. But I'm just kind of curious, like, is that more beneficial than, say, even if they didn't really push hardware anymore? Like, what if they just kept their games exclusive to Game Pass and xCloud, kind of similar to like Netflix, and other streaming platforms? You don't see Netflix movies on Paramount Plus, on Hulu and whatnot. And with Microsoft pushing their games on other platforms, they're going to make it more competitive or face more competition for their games on other platforms. So I'm just curious, what do you think of that? Is it better to maybe keep their games exclusive to xCloud as opposed to like porting stuff to other platforms?
The thing, like I said, I have been burned many times before. Kevin?
This is actually
Okay. I mean, I could tell because the gayness coming off the microphone.
It's 200%, man. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did you just come out of the closet or something, by the way? Because I've never seen somebody talk about them being gay as frequently as you do, other than someone who just came out of the closet.
Honestly, man, it's just me being fucking silly. It's like not even trying to make a point or anything.
Okay. Well, mission accomplished then. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, look, I always go to the default position that people who make a lot of money consistently or usually know what they're doing, or at least are smart enough to have made a lot of money. So all I can assume is, from the outside looking in, Microsoft is fully aware, if they care at all, that what they are doing looks insanely stupid, but they've got a plan. Right. Because I think everybody agrees, like we were talking about it earlier. It's just sort of like, why are you still making hardware if you're putting your shit everywhere? I love that they're putting their shit everywhere. I love Game Pass. I love what they're doing with their first party software lately. It's been really fun to watch. But I can't get my head around why they actually think, and why they think anyone would buy any hardware from them moving forward. And maybe you could say, oh, well, it's going to be about the quality of the hardware. It's not. I mean, I'm not, if they put something out that's 10 years ahead of the competition and playing a game on Xbox Series X2 is so drastically better, okay, then that might start to make a little sense, especially if you can price it like a console compared to a PC. Right. But probably not going to happen, in which case it is just sort of like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. So my answer to your question is, I have no real way to speculate on what their philosophy and logic is right now, because from the outside looking in, it makes no sense. Would you agree?
Yeah, well, I just feel like, to me, they're kind of giving up. Like, I always feel like they always act like in this like red alert state. They're always kind of like this like knee-jerk reacting to whatever position they are in the market. Because I could also see like, okay, they think like, let's port Avowed, let's port South of Midnight to PlayStation, but
which is probably going to happen.
Yeah, but then it's also kind of like, how much extra, I mean, obviously we don't know, but it's like, how much extra sales are they really going to get from that, versus like, okay, maybe they don't have to focus on hardware, but keep these games exclusive to Game Pass and xCloud, because then.
But if they don't focus on hardware, most people, then they're basically becoming a big PC publisher. Maybe that's their goal. They're going, look, we can own this shit on PC because of Game Pass on PC. Right. But on console, we're going to just say, you know what, Sony, you guys win. I don't fucking know, because otherwise it makes no sense. So I'm with you on that, Kevin.
Yeah, I just wish, like, it just feels like you're kind of giving up.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
We anything else? Because we've already dealt with that topic. We've put that one to bed. It's gone to sleep, Kevin.
No, you're right. I just wish, let's all be gay. That's the big thing.
Why would you want all to be gay? If we're all gay, we're going to die out as a species. Is that your plan?
That's true.
Which is fine. I mean, look. I mean, Earth would probably be grateful. It's like, please.
Yeah.
Please all be gay just for a generation and put an end to you people. You're fucking everything up.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Good to see you. Talk to you soon, Kevin. Bye. All right. I'm going to bring on Big Bad. This guy sounds like he should be in the WWE. It's Gary Turbo of the Cincinnati Turbos. What's up, Gary Turbo?
Hey, before I get started on
is your actual last name Turbo?
No, but it starts with T.
That's fantastic. If it was Turbo,
I don't have a problem with gay people, because if it weren't for gay people, we wouldn't have Fallout. Now, about About
Why did Fallout get made by gay people? Oh, Tim Kaine, is that his name?
yeah.
Yeah, okay, he's a gay guy. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Okay, now back to Microsoft. I think it's
Are you saying if Fallout didn't exist though, you would have a problem with gay people?
no.
Somebody's calling you, Gary. Who's calling you, Gary?
Never mind. Hold on.
I want to talk to that guy. Who's calling Gary? Gary's in trouble. Gary did some shit. Gary left his wet towel on the floor.
Okay.
All right, Gary, what's going on? What do you want to talk about, bud?
Now about Microsoft losing the console war. I think that's a horrible idea because it's a major loss to indie developers.
Because you mean like for Game Pass?
Because Microsoft spent a lot of money bringing indie games to consoles.
Okay. But wouldn't they still do that to Game Pass? I mean, would it matter if they get out of hardware?
The only upside to it is like if they make an app for like something like the Atari VCS.
Okay. Well, Gary, I'm going to be honest with you, sir. I don't quite know what the fuck you're talking about. Let me ask you this: what game are you playing right now? What are you loving? If you could recommend to somebody who comes up to you and says, "Gary, what should I play this weekend?" What are you in love with right now, game wise?
Well, right now I'm playing Fallout 76.
Okay, and you've been playing it for a while, or are you relatively new to it?
Oh, I've been playing Fallout for a while.
No, 76 you've been playing for a while.
Yeah, because I've been playing it for a while.
Okay.
What I'm getting at is like Microsoft spent a lot of money bringing like indie games to consoles. Like it was so easy, anyone could actually make a game and put it on the Xbox.
Okay, I don't know if I would agree with you on that. I think anybody can make a game, I will agree with, and anybody can put it on itch.io and probably Steam, but you make some average dumb game, you can't just immediately put it on the Xbox, can you? You got to jump through hoops and pay for a dev kit, and I mean, I'm not saying they haven't been indie developer friendly. I think that's great, but I don't think they're if I was an indie developer, they would be my second or third call. My first would be, PC.
Well, like the put it on an Xbox is mostly like $20, so it's really cheap.
I'm almost certain that's not correct. I think if you put it on an Xbox, you've got to do all kinds of, you got to pass their TRCs, you've got to go through the ESRB, which costs money. You've got to have a dev kit, which costs money. I don't think it's, I don't, Toby Moss in the chat would know. He says it costs like $50K to get on console. But still, it doesn't matter whether, let's put it this way. I think indie games have benefited greatly from Xbox and specifically Game Pass. Right. And so, for example, I just saw today that this game, the sequel to a game called Lonely Mountains, which was a bike game that you rode downhill, which was addictive as fuck. That sequel, which is now snow skiing, is coming to Xbox Game Pass or Game Pass Day One in a couple of weeks, right? So I'm with you 100%. It has been a great thing for discoverability of indie games. It has been a great place to expose your indie game, and I think it's fucking wonderful. I think it's great. So I hope that continues, whether Game Pass is just a service or a service on a piece of hardware. I'm with you.
Now, Jaffe, you're a wrestling fan, right?
I am a casual wrestling fan, depending on what the storyline is. Like, for me, the height of wrestling, I was not watching in the Attitude Era, so I know, blah, blah, blah. But like for me, when it was Becky Lynch fighting Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, and they hated each other, that was the shit, baby. I loved it. But I do enjoy wrestling, yes.
Now, back in the 90s, you had the Monday Night War with WCW and WWE.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I grew up watching WCW because I grew up in the Metro Atlanta area.
Okay.
And And the thing is, like, once when WCW lost the Monday Night War, you can tell, like, WWE had nothing. Like, throughout the time, they were, like, the top promotion because they killed off the biggest competitor that caused them to be, it caused the business to be successful.
Okay.
And then when you have that, you just have a global monopoly. And when you have a monopoly, you're stuck.
Yeah. Are you suggesting that WWE is PlayStation and Xbox is WCW?
Exactly. Because like you'll create a monopoly, and you don't want a monopoly because when you have a monopoly, when you have a monopoly, you have so many people just leaving the gaming and they don't want to spend money on games like what they did with wrestling. It's like
right. Well, what I would say to you, Gary Turbo, is this though: in a vacuum or in the '90s, I think your analogy would have made a lot of sense, and it still makes sense. But I think now, given that consoles are struggling to be as relevant as they used to be, given that so many of the younger generation is into their phones, are into PCs, they're into Fortnite and Roblox and shit like that. Even though you can play those games on console, I don't think they would have the monopoly. I think if you're talking about AAA cinematic action adventure big budget games, then you're right. If you're speaking specifically about those, but we'll have to see. I mean, look, it's like anything else. If Microsoft does get out and there does seem to be a space for consoles, I think someone will come in. But frankly, Gary Turbo, I think what's going to happen is we're already in the end game of consoles sooner than later, and I mean sooner. Most people are getting their games through the cloud, and you're going to then you're going to be into a battle of content only, which is healthier, I think, anyway.
Well, hopefully Atari would jump in and give PlayStation their money's worth.
I mean, that would be cool. That's, I don't think that's happening, but you will see. I love what Atari's doing for the most part lately, but I don't think they're in a position to make consoles. We will see. Gary Turbo, thank you for calling. I would consider changing that last name, but other than that, it was a joyous conversation. Thank you, buddy. Call back anytime.
All
right, man. Let's bring in Pompish. And again, Tech Protect. Let me know when we want to move on from calls to get to the next news story. Pompish, it is I, David Jaffe. Is this Pompish, Lord Pompish of the estate of Pompish? I just like your last name. I'm going to say it a lot. What's going on, buddy? Pompish. Hello, Pompish. All right, well, I guess we're hanging up on Pompish. Yeah, Tech Protect says, isn't Atari making that handheld? Well, they're not making it. They license it to a company that's making it. And, I think that's a stupid product, frankly. But, we'll see. There's Pompish. What's up, you purple Pompish shirt wearing motherfucker? Are you in a car? Are you driving an ice cream truck? What are you doing, Pompish? You are muted, though. I will tell you that. Like you have muted. There you go. What's up, man?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, where are you? What are you driving?
Cool. Let's leave that out of it.
Are there dead bodies in the back?
I'm actually I work for a morgue, so I have some.
Do you really? You do not.
No, I'm messing with you, man.
Okay. Are you aware? Wait. Are you aware your face is not on the show?
Oh, it isn't.
No. Is that okay? I don't care. I'm just letting you know if you think you're trying to show us something. We're just looking at a door.
If I had a fresh haircut.
All right, fine. Okay. What do you want? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?
So I'm not on camera, right? I just want to make sure.
Your arm and your purple sweatshirt and this door with blood oozing out from underneath the door crack is.
Okay, we'll leave it like that.
Fine.
Dude, it's I guess I'll blow you first. I can't believe I'm talking to the guy that made God of War. That's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. You say that like it's a good thing for me. What's in it for me? The fact that you're blowing
the money, I guess.
No,
right?
I mean the blowing me. I'm like,
yeah.
But anyway, I made God of War with a whole group of talented people, buddy. But I appreciate you. Yeah. On behalf of all of us, thank you for saying that, and thanks for playing our games. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, you're very correct about that. But somebody does get to take credit, and that has to be you. So I'll thank you for that.
All right, fine, Pompish, whatever.
All right, I grew up watching G4, and I grew up watching G4, and watching that. Now I look back and watch the old like E3 launches and stuff, and it brings me I'm 34, so it brings me so much nostalgia watching that stuff, and it shows me so much that how much you were involved at that time. And I never cared for Adam Sessler, but he kind of went off the rails, and he had this thing about this achievement on God of War, the Bros Before Hoes. You remember this?
Yeah, he and I actually talked about it on this show recently in an interview I did with him. But keep going. Yeah.
So I'm new to you. I've only been watching you on and off for 6 months.
Gotcha.
So I do lean a little right, but I like your type of left, if that makes sense. You're the correct liberal, in my opinion. I think that more of them should kind of follow you.
Okay.
There's some things I don't like as well. But Adam, with the Bros Before Hoes, you had nothing to do with the trophy. Sorry, I'm an Xbox guy. So you had nothing to do with it.
Well, I didn't work on 3, and that was from 3. And frankly, I would have never. Yeah, I would have never done Bros. I wouldn't have made for 2 reasons. One is I don't like when trophy names step out of the of sort of the vibe of the game. Like if I'm making a game, I don't want to wink at the audience as somebody in 2025. I would want the titles of the trophies to feel immersed in the intellectual property that the trophy is for. So I always hate it when trophies pop and pull you out of that, right? But so I wouldn't have called it that to begin with. But I don't really use that. I found it. I found the term kind of slightly offensive, and I wouldn't have used it. But I don't think people should be, canceled over it. But I certainly wouldn't have used the term. But they can do whatever they want. I support their right to express their creativity.
Not that it's that serious or anything, but I don't find that a big deal.
Yeah, and that's fine. And I respect the fact that you don't. I mean, it's just not my cup of tea to talk about sex workers like that. But whatever. It's not.
I mean, host could be like a metaphor of like a mentality trait, but we don't got to get into that.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that big of a deal. It's not like it was like a racial slur.
My issue is with Adam Sessler. Like, I didn't. He was never my favorite, but I didn't mind him. And looking back at G4, like he's so nostalgic to me, but like as a person, he is so miserable. And I don't mean to say something so negative about him, but like. I guess to put it in a different way, you and him have very similar to a degree of like stances, but like yours is okay to listen to.
I mean, Adam is from what I gather, Adam. I talked to him about this actually because I mean, I don't think struggle is the right word, but there's a real resentment that I think he articulates better than I do because it was his experience about a lot of what he did back in the day and what fans back then and fans today of his old stuff, how it affected him. And I think, that's a journey that I can't really relate to. And so
neither can I.
Right. So I can't really judge that, but I understand that politically speaking, he and I are both far left progressives, and certainly, I try to have more tolerance for people who disagree with me than Adam seems to. But I also understand, intellectually speaking, that Adam is probably more correct than I am when it comes to the fact that, being tolerant of the intolerant is probably not a good idea. But I struggle with that because I'm such a staunch First Amendment advocate in a First Amendment.
Well, First Amendment is set there for the things that you don't like to hear.
Right, and I don't mean literally the First Amendment, of course.
Yeah, no, I know.
But that's right. That's exactly right. The fact is, I know the Popper philosophy that says you should, you got to not be tolerant of the intolerant. But I just struggle with that. I think if you're a fucking Nazi. And I'm not saying you are, but if you're a fucking Nazi, I hate you. I hate your politics. And if you act on them and you hurt people, I'll be there to do whatever I can to contribute to your downfall. But before that, or if that doesn't happen, you have a right to express your horrible ideas. And not everybody on the left agrees with that. And I've never been able to get my head around that.
I look back at so I didn't know that you weren't involved with 3. I'm more of an Xbox guy, so I kind of got into God of War. But just playing those games, man, You and him are in, talented positions to be there, but should be very grateful because there's a lot of people that maybe as talented as you that weren't able to do that, and you got to give yourself credit. But
I give myself credit, but I am very grateful. I am very. I don't know.
I mean Adam Sessler when I say that though, because it's like, dude, you gotta do like one of the coolest things. I could never do what he did, so fair, but maybe get over it. You hurt a couple people and you cried online. It's like it comes from a spoiled place to me, is the way I see it. And everybody has their own lives. So I don't know everything, but he just rubs me the wrong way, and I still like him. I don't hate anybody.
Yeah, I think the thing I think the thing that is important to understand if you're interested in understanding it or thinking about these things is that one of the things that allows people who do at the small end of entertainment, like a YouTuber like me or Adam when he was on cable, or the biggest stars in the world, or video game creators or whatever, or movie directors, artists or creative people required that a lot of times you're not even aware of in order to sort of express what is inside you. And it connects, and when it connects, it can make you very popular and it can make you very wealthy. And then a lot of people will look at those people and say, this is the way that you should respond to your success. But so much of the reason these people, including me in the past, have had that success is I was sort of exercising my darkness and demons and challenges out into the creative process. And so
how do you feel?
These aren't healthy people to begin with, that you're talking about.
Yeah, well, again, there people are very I've argued on Xbox Live. The people that are talking to Adam that way, they're trolling him. And it's like, dude, they're not even genuine. They'd say hello to you when you see him. It's so weird that he takes these, I feel like he's changed his scope on the game. He hates the gaming community. He really does.
Yeah. Well, the gaming community online that he's talking about, I hate as well. I don't hate gamers. I love gamers. I am a gamer. But when he's talking about the insufferable trolly assholes that get most of
he's even more insufferable than they are. He really is.
Well, sure, but sometimes how do you want him to respond to those people? What do you think the proper response? Like my response after I saw
you're not going to like my answer.
Okay, let me give you my answer first. Let me give you my answer first.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay. After I saw that What We Do in the Shadows clip, and I realized, oh shit, most of these people are trolling me. And the other ones, my ex-wife said to me about a month ago when I was dealing with some trolls, she said, and the ones that aren't trolling you, she's like, do you understand that every time you go out of your way to address them, unless you're making content that you think will be valuable, you're literally taking money out of your bank account to pay them. Instead of working on a new video or doing a stream or preparing for a stream, you are getting into a 20-minute rabbit hole arguing with somebody who doesn't give a fuck. And you're literally paying them because you lose money when you're not working in this particular business that I'm in. And I'm like, fuck, you're absolutely right.
Your trolls are your most dedicated fans, and they're the ones that bring in the most view traffic. That doesn't.
Well, right, but that's why I said if I can monetize it, if I can make content, I'm all over it. But you have to be able to discern this is a good troll that I can use to make money, and this is just somebody who's pushing the rest of the audience away.
Okay.
But what was your answer then?
You're not going to like the response. I'm not trying to use this one, but let's just say that Trump wasn't the idiot he is. I do like the guy, so hate me for it. But let's just say that the corny left that does attack him, the ones that are kind of whatever his responses to things. There's plenty of ways to. I mean, he deals with trolling very well, in my opinion. That's the only reason why he's there. I don't think it's out of skill. It's out of that's pretty much all I had to say on that. I just. There was something I want to move towards. So Cory Barlog is the guy that makes the God of Wars now.
Well, he did God of War 2, and then he did 2018, and he was the creative director on the new one, but Eric Williams was the director of Ragnarok. Right. I don't think he's directing the new one. I think he's doing a new IP, if there is a new one, but I'm sure
that's probably a good thing. 2018 was an beautiful, awesome game. It blew my mind the way it looked. I love that over the shoulder aesthetic, but I think that he completely ruined the game by interjecting his like the sun dynamic and like having like it was just so annoying to me. I don't mean to be rude. This is probably the meanest thing I'll say, but you know, him interjecting, like having the kid follow along in the game completely. I mean, you know, telling Kratos to shut up. Kratos is man. It's like Marcus Phoenix getting told by Kate in Gears 5, shut up and sit there, and then Marcus is like, to me it just ruins it. So if we want to put DEI in games, I think that's fine to put DEI in games, but don't like demean the main character.
Fair, but I don't think this was DEI on the part of Corey. This was Corey going.
No. I that's two separate things. Yeah, my bad.
Right, but I mean, look, I enjoyed 2018 a great deal, but it's certainly. I did not enjoy Ragnarok, even though I thought it had some amazing parts and it was wonderful in so many ways. But I don't like the direction the franchise has taken. But I absolutely understand that there was God of War as is fatigue after Ascension or before Ascension. And I think if Corey hadn't come along, and maybe we agree that the way it was stirred up maybe should have been stirred up differently. But I wouldn't have had an idea on how to stir it up to the point that it would have gotten him a green light and gotten him the love of the community and the love of the critics and been a huge seller. So I remain a big fan of 2018, but I agree with you in the sense that I don't think Atreus is a compelling character. I think if they would have put more effort into the Atreus character, and even though he could have still had the same arc he had in 2018, but there was a sense of, okay, when this kid grows up, he is going to be a fucking badass motherfucker like his dad or something. But instead, I think in both games, Atreus just feels like, I don't want to ever, it's like, oh, he'll take over. It's like Mutt Williams in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. It's like, I don't want him to be the new Indiana Jones. He's terrible. Like, why the fuck would I want to play a mainline $70 game with Atreus, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, the best thing that can happen to Atreus is some kind of fucking psychological trauma that causes him to go off the fucking deep end. Because right now, I think they've written themselves into a very uninteresting corner.
Well, I wish you weren't such a cuck and you could go back to the God of War games, because I think you'd do a much better job.
Yeah, but I am, because that's what your wife pays me. She pays me for that. She says, Jaffe, be a cuck. And I'm like, all right, whatever you want, man. Your money spends as long as she keeps charging me, you know, I'm in. So
yeah. You're amazing, man.
All right, buddy. Drive safe out there on the open road. What are you hauling? You got to tell me what you're hauling.
Oh, I don't want to do that. Shout out Griffin Gaming.
What's the matter with you? What do you mean you don't want to do that?
I'm a delivery driver.
I know.
Can I do one shout out? It's a good one.
In a minute. I don't want to know if it's for Amazon. I don't want to know if it's for, I don't need company names, but are you hauling something exotic and weird, or you're just delivering
I'm contracted
packages?
to deliver medical supplies between like hospitals and stuff.
Oh, do you know, I knew a guy in college who literally his job was he would go around, he would get a call. It was the 90s, so it was a pager. And he would have to go when somebody had expired and scoop their eyes out and collect eyes of dead people for medical research. That was his job. What's your shout out? Go. I think he just crashed. Drive by Joe. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says Morgan Webb was hot. Morgan Webb, I will tell you, was one of the nicest people I ever met in the industry. She's in the industry still. She works at Bonfire, I think. But I will tell you that she every encounter I had with her was just, she was so sweet and kind and a really nice lady. I'm a fan of Morgan Webb. I think she's kind of moved on from the I think she's kind of moved on from that world, and so she is I've tried to have her on the show from time to time, and I've never heard back from her, but you know, she was really cool, and I'm sure she still is. Thank you, Drive By Joe. Okay, let's move forward. Jaffe, what if they have Atreus die and Kratos relapses? I mean, I'm down with that, but you know, I don't know what you do at this point with Kratos to kind of keep it interesting. I'm sure there are a lot of things you could do, but I think they have written themselves into a very challenging corner. But you know, Corey's good at what he does, and I'm sure they have some good people over there that can come in and go, okay, look, let's fucking figure this out. And worst case, it's Greek mythology, so they can always just go back in time with the threads of fate and shit and go, we should have pulled on this one, you know? Listen to this, my delightful delinquent friends. Olivia Munn, Darth Nugget. Yeah, Olivia Munn was. Now, Olivia Munn was somebody. I want to tell you a quick story before I get to the patents. I know people like, are we talking games? This is tangential. Is that the right word? Tech Protect. Can I tell an Olivia Munn story, or should I move on to game news? I'll let Tech Protect take the heat from this decision. Morgan says Brad seemed like she was reading while Seth seemed like he cared. I don't know anything about that, this or the other. What I can tell you is she was and remains a gamer, and she is a game designer now working in the video game business. So she's the real fucking deal. What I was going to tell you about Olivia Munn, though, is so I was talking on Twitter to Kevin. I can never say this guy's last name, but Kevin Piera, whatever, but nice guy. I always liked him. And, you know, he was with Olivia Munn, right? He did the Olivia Munn show, Attack of the Show. And I did this thing, thanks, Tech Protect. I did this thing with Olivia on this video that at E3 in 2012, and a lot of people thought her and I were mad at each other, and I've told the story over and over. It was not the case. It was a bit. Her and I were just fucking around on camera because I was bored, and I said, let's just do something different. I'm like, please don't ask me the same questions. Let's talk about anything. And she started. It was great. Anyway, and then it got back to where I think somebody said that I was mad or she was mad. And so she reached out to me on Twitter and said, dude, this is after she became really famous and was in the X-Men, was in what's that fucking show? I love that show, the news show from Aaron Sorkin. She was great in it. And anyway, what's that show called? With dementia kids. It's not fun. Come on. He's in Dumb and Dumber. That guy. Oh, Jaffe. This is what it's Newsroom. God damn it. Jaffe. What's his name? Anyway, whatever. She's in that show. She's great. She writes me and says, what are you talking about? I wasn't mad at you. And I says to her, oh, okay. I thought you were mad at him, but whatever. And I said, you got to come on the show. Jeff Daniels is his name. Thank you, sir. And she says, I will. And then, you know, she had the baby. And then I was like, okay, well, I'll wait. I won't bug her. And then she had the breast cancer come back and it was aggressive. And I just haven't, I'm the last thing in her mind, but she was really sweet. She was always really sweet. I heard she was not nice to work with at G4, but the very few encounters I had with her, she was great. She was really, really nice, but I didn't work with her. Right. So what do I know? But I was always a fan and remain so. So, okay. Sony patents some new shit. This is the prep for the show. This is okay. New Sony patents include an AI system to predict player behavior and reduce online lag. I always like reading about these new patents. Look at this one. This is coming from Vicky Blake over at Games Industry. Sony has patented several new systems, including one designed to harness AI to help predict player behavior. And AI to help predict player behavior. Now, I don't know if that is the secret sauce for GeForce Now, but what these, and maybe Sony thinks they need that. I don't know. But GeForce Now is delightful. It's an excellent service. And the Sony cloud stuff has never been as good. So maybe this will be part of their secret sauce. But it's using AI tech to anticipate player movement in a bid to reduce lag. By using a camera to study and record player actions, Sony is exploring how accurately AI can predict player behavior. Maybe it'll work. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Sam says that's rollback netcode. It predicts player behavior. There you go. All I can tell you, though, right now is whether it works or not, whatever GeForce Now is doing does work, at least for me. And then here's another patent. AI will impersonate players to catch cheats online, which is great, especially what's happening with Call of Duty right now, and providing in-game help should the microphone or controller detect player frustration. Think about that. Think about that. Now, the microphone or controller, I don't think that's going to be the best bet to detect player frustration, but however they detect it, that's a great thing. The real question is, I don't want it to provide in-game help. I want it to slightly adjust what's causing me problems without me knowing. I know you gamers who come to the table and you're talking about games and you view games as a competitive landscape kind of thing. I get it. You don't want that. I appreciate it. You have, if I had a hat, I would tip it to you. Call me Tippy Hat Jaffe. But if you're talking narrative, single player, experiential games, I want this. I want the game to keep me in the zone of too hard to, the Goldilocks zone, too hard, too easy, just right. That's what I want. Calvin. Yeah. How are you, my boy? I'm going to the bathroom. Okay, I love that for you. He has to go to the bathroom. But I want to stay in that. I'd finish more games, man. That's the main reason I don't finish games or I disengage. I get to something hard and it's just like, it's too much. I move on to something else. But anyway, there's another patent, okay? A trigger attachment to improve gunplay realism. In the diagrams presented, players hold the controller sideways and aim down between the R2 and R1 button. I want to see this. Here, Game Rant is showing us this. What? Where's the picture? Here it is. Interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Hang on. Where's my controller? You get old, you start making sounds when you move around. Okay, so you do this. That's kind of cool. Look at this. Do you see this? I didn't know about this. Look, how hard would this be to try in the office? Probably super easy. So they've probably tried it and said, this is cool. Let's patent it. I would play the shit out of that. The real question is, do you have to press this to fire? That's the one thing I don't like, because that's not a very fun button. But if you're able to go like this and move like this, I guess you'd have to do it like this. That's still pretty cool, man. That's still pretty fucking cool. Look at that. I would, here, like that. And you're moving your character like this. I mean, you'd still want it to be light, and this gets tiring. So it's probably light gun, right? So you probably like that. That's cool. Look, I wish we would go back to them using the gyro aiming more often. This was great in Days Gone. This is actually really good. I wish more games did it. If I'm not actually playing the game, then gamer engagement is gone. We're watching a movie. You're talking about the AI patent that will come in and detect if you're frustrated. I don't agree with you. The idea is, if you're talking about Sky says, I took a break, I came back, and Jaffe's having a breakdown. No. Look, if you're talking about competitive games, you're 100% right. But if you're talking about a narrative game, I'm sorry, but as a guy who's made a couple of narrative games, you don't want the player, at least most ones that I know of, to feel like they're playing a game. You want them to feel like they are in a experience. They are on an adventure that you and the team have created for them. And the worst thing is if you get pulled out of that little trough of just right, of too easy, too hard, it's just right. So I don't agree. Yeah, exactly. Matthew says if the AI works properly, you won't know the system's doing anything. 100%. That's what a lot of people don't quite get. But I agree with you, Matthew. Absolutely. That's exactly the way. It's exactly the way. Okay. You guys know a game that people are saying... Well, okay, wait a minute. Sam says Total Carnage was very video gamey, but I still loved it. Yeah, because it was meant to be that. It was an arcade. You're talking about the arcade game? Maybe you're talking about something else, but nobody comes to Total Carnage, I'll put it on the screen, and expects anything other than just sort of a fun romp. That has a very different goal than a game like The Last of Us or something. That's totally different. Okay. Remember Project Horned Owl? Speaking of light gun games, I always thought that was a neat game. Project Horned Owl. Remember that fucking thing? Probably didn't do very well. It was like a light gun game for the PS1. Whatever. Okay, here we go. All right. Yeah, Smash TV is a classic, no doubt. Okay, look. Dynasty Warriors Origins came out this week. There are some reviews that are calling it the first great action game of this year. I don't see anybody talking about it. I played the demo that came out a month ago. I don't want to say I didn't like it because I think I wasn't in the headspace. It was kind of cutscene heavy, and I just wasn't in the headspace for it. But the reviews on this, it's sitting at an 80 Metacritic. It's pretty fucking good. This is what it looks like. I don't know. Has anybody given this? Isn't it out already? I know the reviews are out, but has anybody given a play for this? And what do you guys think? But I'm with the reviews and watching some of the new footage. I'm kind of like, this might be something worth picking up, actually. But I'll read you the reviews while we're looking at some of the footage. Let me tell you what people are saying about it. Let's see. Metacritic. All right, sitting at an 80. Jonathan, you like Dynasty Warriors? You didn't even know about it? Really? Okay. So you can currently get early access, but it's not out for everyone. Okay, so if you want to get it played a few days early, it'll cost you more money. Yeah, it's sitting at an 80. I'll tell you what some of the reviews have been. Let me see. Tech Radar gave it an 80. Incredibly confident, successful revamp of a series that desperately needed it, offering up the most absurdly satisfying 1 versus 1,000 gameplay, backed up by surprisingly nice visuals, rock-solid performance on console. Let's get to some of the combat, which is sort of the bread and butter. So you go into, what are these called, Misu games or whatever, where you've got hundreds of people on the battlefield. Yeah, Morgan, you tried the demo. What did you think? Like, I tried the demo. I just couldn't get into it, but it was a total me issue. And I didn't even get this far. I was like, I literally deleted it after 5 minutes of having to go through dialogue with all these characters. But this looks, okay. There's a lot of bad guys on screen. I'm not complaining. That's a huge horse. What did you think of the demo, Morgan? Are you going to buy it? Are you going to play this thing? I remember Matthew says playing. Okay, so you tried the demo and you loathed the gameplay as Eternal. Okay, well that's one against it. GameSpot gives it a 7, an ambitious game that forcefully pushes the reset button after the failings of number 9. It's a marked improvement on that game in every area, utilizing modern tech to expand the hack and slash. IGN gave it a 9. Let's see, what did IGN say about this game? Hold on. IGN said it doesn't just have the largest amount of enemies the series has thrown, it also deepens the combat, improves storytelling, and provides a healthy amount of replayability. Okay. You have it pre-ordered. Okay, are you guys getting it? Is it running slow? The video? I hate that about this. See, the good thing about this software I'm using to stream is we're not going to have the problems like we had yesterday. The bad thing is sometimes when you play video, it runs really chunky. Okay, so you must have liked it. You pre-ordered it. I like the spin-off Dynasty Warrior game. I liked Hyrule Warriors as well. I thought it was pretty fucking good. The controls are modernized. Okay, well, maybe I'll go back and give it a try. Yeah, the video is a slideshow. That's unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. Because I hate... You just can't win. You can't fucking win with this shit. I want to... OBS, it doesn't matter. Nobody cares about my own little personal fucking problems. Tech Protect, this is something you and I got to figure out a solve for later today. But anyway, this game is out. Morgan liked the demo enough to order it. Sounds like not all of you guys did, though. No, that's not how the game runs. It looks pretty fucking smooth. The video is lagging. But it sounds like, who was it? Eternal played the demo and couldn't stand it. So... Thanato says, I'm just tired of games that do wave after wave of enemies. Yeah, but there is this strategy in Misu games, which does keep it more than that. It's not just hack and slash, right? There is a strategy about who you send where you go, what you use when. There is dialogue choices between battles that affect your resources on the field. And so I think in that's kind of interesting. It makes it more than, it's not like State of Emergency or anything like that. But okay, what do I use? Well, right now I'm using Talk Studio, but I usually use OBS. But yesterday I was using OBS and it just was giving me all kinds of tech problems, which I didn't have patience for. Okay. Anyway, that's out for early access. I don't know. I want to say I'll buy it. Like, it seems like it would be fun to play and stream for a little bit, but I can't imagine I would play it more than twice. And I probably won't buy it. It seems like a waste of money for me. Listen to this though. Now, this, I'm going to tell you a story. It's story time briefly. I remember when I have a very good, it isn't, stop. I'm going to show you my specs. I'm so tired of people bitching about my specs. I bought a brand new computer less than a year ago. Would you like to see my specs? Just tell me how to find them. What do I do? If I want to show people the computer specs, what do I type in? Not specs. What do I guarantee you, my computer can do streaming more than fine. It's got nothing to do with that. Oh, that's interesting. Doug Jones says it makes him want a new Lord of the Rings game based on the OG story that have massive. Yeah, they've never done that. They've never done like a Lord of the Rings miso soup game. Okay, type specs. Okay, system information comes up. Okay. What would you like to know? Hardware research. What can I tell you about my little system here that will let you judge it, which is clearly what you want to do? What can I do for you? What do you need? Where do I read you? I don't know anything about this. I have I don't know. What do you want? What do you want to know? CPU, GPU. Okay. CPU. I don't even know how to find that. Where do I go to find that? I'm looking under system information. Is there something that says CPU? I don't know if should I put it on the screen? Because if I put it on the screen, maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe I give away information and stuff that I shouldn't give away. I don't know what I got. Processor amount of memory. Okay. How do I find out my processor? Okay. 13th gen Intel R Core i7 13700 2100 megahertz 16 core 24 logical processors is what I got. It's what I got. Is that good? I don't fucking know. They told me it was good when I bought it. I'm not doxing my. Yeah, that's a good. I know it's a good CPU. There's nothing about this computer. It was an OBS issue. It was not a me issue. Idiot. Yeah, got him. Listen, let's move on. I want to tell you a story, a video game development story, but it goes into Marvel Rivals. Okay, so when we were pitching Drawn to Death to Sony, one of the things they told us was, if you're going to make a game that has the need to bring out a lot of characters, be aware that one of the challenges we've had, and they specifically mentioned what was their game called? Battle Royale Super. They're kind of Smash Bros. Clone, which was really, really good, sold over 1 million copies. But they said the thing that they didn't really take into account, or maybe they tried to take into account, but they couldn't get over this hurdle, was that the amount of time and money to create a new character really got in the way for these guys. And it took too long to put new characters out, right? And they're like, if you're going to do Drawn to Death, you need to find a way to make sure that you can put out meaningful characters at a good cadence, because that's one of the main, especially back when it was going to be free to play, but that's one of the main things that brings people back. Okay, fine. And it was a challenge, and we promised we would, and we never quite got that deep enough into production. But that's sort of what I knew going in. And so when I see this news story today, which is this, Marvel Rivals devs promise to release a new hero every 45 days, give or take, in efforts to keep everyone excited. What? I don't understand. I mean, I like Marvel Rivals quite a bit, and I hope they do this, but I don't know how, unless it's just mostly cosmetic. Like, one of the things we got so much shit when we were doing Twisted Metal 2012 was a lot of people said that you guys have too many special weapons that are similar, even though they were tuned very different and were designed to do different things. There was a lot of building off code that we already had, because it's a lot of work, not just to make the code, but to make the code and the effects, and then that the code works online. And it's not just like you make it and it's done. It's a big process when you introduce a new mechanic into a game. And Moon Knight's already in the game, Mutant Mo. He's cool. He's very, very cool. But so these guys saying that we're going to do it every 6 weeks, every 45 days, their goal, give or take, is a new hero. They're either just fucking brilliant and fast, or you're going to start seeing a lot more. You're going to seeing a lot more characters that play like other characters with a slight little shift, which may be fine. Sky says they must have devs all over the multiverse cranking out new characters. Maybe. Eternal says, yeah, I don't get how they'll keep all the characters distinct if they churn out so many heroes for too long. Now, I don't know. Morgan says a new hero every 45 days means you're going to have a busted, unbalanced piece of shit game. I hope not. But here's what I don't know. I don't know, like, if you look at how often does League of Legends release, what are they called? Champions? Yeah, new champions. Okay, 4 to 5, that's about the same, right? So if you do 4 a year, that's basically 2.5 months. If you do 5 a year, that's 6 weeks, right? Give or take. So, maybe they're basing it off of what they've seen other companies do. I mean, again, the League of Legends characters, I assume, are a little bit simpler to create than these characters. I don't know. V8 Warrior wants Bishop and Dazzler. I mean, yeah, but okay, let's take this. What mechanics would you want? Like, Brad says he wants Cyclops, right? But I mean, okay, Cyclops is a great hero. But what do you actually want it to do other than fire his laser beam, right? By the way, we got a super chat coming in. Let me get this real quick from Carlos Hernandez. Thank you, buddy. He says, I actually really love the Dynasty Warrior games, but you have to be in a very specific mood, and there's also a ton of those games at a cheaper price. Yeah, it's a very good point. And again, I was in the mood for Hyrule Warriors, and I loved it, but it didn't sustain my interest for more than 2 or 3 days. Carlos, are you planning on buying the new Dynasty Warriors Origins, or are you going to wait and see? But still, though, thank you for the super chat. And yeah, I think you have a very, very good point. Okay, yeah, I mean, other than Cyclops shooting the beam out of his eyes, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? How many devs were working on, this is coming from Sardguard. How many devs are working on Marvel Rivals compared to Drawn to Death and PlayStation Battle? Yeah, there's no doubt. Certainly these are massive teams compared, but you still have to have the design sensibility to go, okay, what do we need? How's it going to balance with everything else? We've got 3 other characters coming after this one. How are those going to balance with this new one? But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see, but I hope so, because I really like it. But I mean, that's interesting. The idea of who they should bring to the table. And I haven't been seeing the text, so if you want me to mention it, hit me up again. Like, I'm not going to get it in the chat because it's already gone too far up. But if it's something I'm curious. I haven't thought about it really. I'm only now getting back into Marvel Rivals after the beta, but I am curious. So Marvel characters list. I'm just curious, like, who isn't currently there that might make a really great addition to the roster of Marvel Rivals, right? Let's see. I mean, Luke Cage, no, he's cool. Deadpool. I mean, again, I'm not talking who would make a good addition at a marketing level. Sure, get Deadpool in there as soon as possible, but Ant-Man would be great. If you could actually pull off Ant-Man shrinking and growing giant, that would be cool. Mark says Doc Ock would be sweet. That's a great point. I agree. Who else would be good? Let's see. Who are in the Avengers? There's a lot of fucking Avengers. Who haven't we seen? I mean, Captain Marvel's not in it yet, but she's so OP. Okay, Daredevil, says Snail. Daredevil would be pretty fucking cool if you actually did do like one of those. I mean, can you imagine, what was that game? There was an indie game that was like all 3D, but you could only see with like sonar. So it was a black screen, but you would like bing, bing, bing. I mean, that would be a hell of an interesting character. I don't know if they would be that bold with this game. I think maybe who's the guy, the X-Man who bamfs everywhere? Kurt, what Wolf? What the fuck's that guy's name? That guy could be potentially interesting. Black Cat, because of her luck, you could do something really interesting with the luck factor, like whether like every time she gets like, maybe she has like 9 opportunities that she can hit a button and it'll either cause her death to hang on. Like if she dies, she can either come back to life or it causes her to be dead longer or something. Hang on. Hey, I'm streaming right now and you are on the stream. You want to call? No one can see you, but
call me later.
Everything's good?
Yep. I just wanted to see what we're doing later on tonight, but just call me after later.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Sabretooth is not. Now, Green Goblin would be cool. I agree, just because it would be fun to fly the guy around. That would be awesome. But I think you could do, I think Lizard could be interesting, although you already have a wall crawler, so maybe that one doesn't matter as much. What a neat challenge, though. Because I'm a big Marvel fan, so thinking about Sandman. Okay, what would you do with Sandman? I mean, Sandman visually is really cool, but I don't know what you would really do with Sandman. let's see. Spidey, we have Falcon. No, see, you got to be careful. If you're just looking at it mechanically, like Nintendo would say, you know what? I don't even want to know who these heroes are yet. Just tell me what they do. Like Juggernaut could be cool. Juggernaut could be very, very cool. Having people fight in the air would be cool. Don't they already have that? You can kind of already do that. Vision could be interesting because you can go through walls. Yeah, there are a lot of neat powers that they're not playing with yet. Let's see. I'd love to play like J. Jonah Jameson. I don't know. He would just yell at people and make them feel bad. I would be a great character. Come on now. Anyway, I love the game is seeing a lot of success, but did you see this news story about Marvel Rivals? Evidence mounts, says PC Gamer. Evidence mounts. Oh, that's good too. Kitty Pryde would be good. Teleporting through walls. Can she take enemies into walls too? Can she like bring people into an area and like, fuck with them? Like in the void. I had Jeff the Shark eat me yesterday and then he spit me out, but it was over an edge and I'm like, you motherfucker. Paste Pot Pete. Come on, man. Nobody knows who that is. I mean, I do, but come on, man. Howard the Duck would be great. Yeah. He would just walk around and comment on the match. Yeah. Listen, Evidence mounts Marvel Rivals stealthily places losing players in bot matches. I haven't even really read this yet, but I'm going to read it to you. Morgan Park writes about this over on PC Gamer, but I saw the headline. I thought it would be fun to discuss. Let's see what's going on. You might have seen rumblings over the holidays, she says, that Rivals is serving players easy bot matches when they go on a losing streak. But can't you take your whole team in? That's the sort of claim I usually take with a grain of salt in competitive shooters. Yes, bots masquerading as real players are unfortunately common in some of the most popular games around. It's also true players often misidentify actual humans as bots. Okay. But apparently they were explaining bots only appear in quick play, not competitive. After 2 consecutive losses, your chances of being put in a bot lobby in quick play are very high, it says. If you put a bot lobby, it will be 4 human teammates, 2 bot teammates versus 6 bot opponents. You will be penalized for leaving bot lobbies. All bots are account level 1. All bot profiles have restricted access as opposed to limited access. I don't know what that means. If the guidelines, it says, I've seen enough questionable clips of human rival players to suspect they are throwing bots in, but it's really serving up. Is it really serving up entire bot lobbies to boost engagement? If all it takes is going on a losing streak, I could just try for myself. And then she says, so I played, Ghost Rider would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I played a few normal matches, making sure to watch enemy and team behavior. After every game, I checked my history and viewed every player's career to check against the description of bots. Most profiles were public, some had set their privacy to limited, and none were restricted. Checking account levels was trickier. All the accounts I saw were past 1. It was a bloodbath, blah, blah. Okay, I lost 2 matches, she says. After the 3rd match, another loss, I went to the lobby. No bots. I jumped into one more match, though, and quickly something funky started happening. For the first time, there were no console players. The account names were generic and cheesy. I was getting kills as Spider-Man, which she never does. I watched every kill cam and noticed 4 accounts were level 1. After we won, I clicked on the profiles, and they were all listed as restricted. So it seems possible. But I mean, what are you going to do? I don't have a real problem with it. I don't want to know they're bots, but let's put it this way. If it wasn't for this article, kind of like what somebody said earlier in the chat, the idea that, hey, when the AI is doing its job, you'll never know it, right? So if I didn't know about this, I would never know about this. It's not like the game, because trust me, I lose a lot in this game, but I'm okay with it. Isn't getting placed in bot lobbies common these days across all popular games like Fortnite and Call of Duty? I don't know. It's never occurred to me to question if I'm in a bot lobby, which is, I think, a good thing, right? I think that's kind of, it works. But certainly the game does have bot training, which I appreciate. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. I'm gonna allow the illusion to work on me with. Because I am very much enjoying it a great deal. Okay, I want to show you. Here's what's going to happen next. Okay, I'm going to play this video for you. It's a 5-minute and 44-second video. It's going to allow me to pee, but I think you're going to want to see it. It's a classic video from the vault, and then when we get back from the classic video, we're going to jump into more news. Let me tell you what's coming after this classic video vault break. We're going to show you Godzilla and Fortnite. We're going to talk about some Dragon Age acting people being arrested, and does that affect how you play the game? We're going to talk about something somebody said about Todd Howard. We have some interesting news about a game that just raised $250,000 on Kickstarter that I want to talk about. I want to show you this amazing design document. We're going to talk about the games that have been rumored for the Switch, and then we will get into our conversation about Transformers. And if you had been an executive, would you have canceled that game? Okay, but first, it's time for a visit to the vault. This is from, when did we put this up? This is 3 years ago, and it caused quite a bit of controversy, as the kids say. Here we go. So I put in Metroid Dread a second time to play it after the first time. I will, at the top of this, concede that out of all the issues I had with it, that part I got stuck in, the people who were pushing back and saying against my note that there were like 30 rooms you could go to, they were right. I remembered it incorrectly, and there were only like 6 or 5 rooms you could go to. All my other points still stand, but whatever. Let's move on. Here's my review, though. So I've played it collectively now for about 4.5, 5 hours. I've never completed a Metroid game. The last Metroid game I played with any real time was probably Super Metroid, maybe the NES one. I wouldn't consider myself I'm not a fan. It's never, I don't dislike it, but I don't go out of my way for it. So it's just this thing. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best game ever made, 1 being a piece of shit. It's a 3. It's a 3. It's not good. It's well made for the most part. The animation's wonderful. It's fluid as fuck. I love the way Samus moves. I love the sound effects. I know people are taking the piss out of the audio. I think the music is great. It's really good music. It reminds me like a 70s sci-fi John Carpenter movie, and also kind of a little bit like the Alien soundtrack. I think it's really good music. I think it's a game whose time has passed. I think that design, the idea of a bounty hunter character, Samus, sci-fi horror is great. This is an archaic design. It's not good. If you didn't grow up, I challenge you to put 20 new players into a room and see what kind of fun they have with this thing. Now, reviews are subjective. I don't care if you love it. I'm glad you love it. I want you to love all the things you play, whether I love them or not. Games are supposed to be fun. I'll rate the fanboys in a second, but the game, I don't know, the game's well made. If you like Metroid, I imagine you'll love this fucking thing. Metroid fans are saying it's game of the year. I don't like this game. I love Castlevania. I do love Metroidvanias. I guess maybe I should just call I love Castlevanias at this point. I love the Castlevania series. I love Shantae. Hell, I love, even before that, I love Flashback, which came before Flashback was after Castlevania. I love those kind of games, but this one don't work for me. I'm sorry. I love Ori and the Will of the Wisp. This is not a good game. The environments are too similar. It's too sterile. The game asks so much of you without, people say, "Oh, you want to have your hand?" No, I don't want to don't hold my fucking hand, motherfucker. But there's difference between not holding your hand and sort of shoving you out of an airplane without a parachute and go, have fun, figure out how not to die. I'm like, yeah, fuck off. No, I don't like this game. I think the reviews are overblown. I think the hype is overblown because the fans haven't had a proper Metroid in 10 years. And it's kind of, in my opinion, it's embarrassing to watch the fanboys of this game, fangirls, whatever. I don't take it all that serious, okay? You can take it serious if you want to. And some of you do, and it's fucking weird. My favorite thing of all time in terms of pop culture is Indiana Jones. I literally made a video saying nobody cares about Indiana Jones. I think the money they're spending on the Bethesda game is stupid. Just to make an Indiana Jones game in this day and age. Do I love Indy? Will I be there fucking day one? Will I pre-order that motherfucker just because I love Indy so much? You goddamn right I will. It's a dumb idea to make an Indiana Jones game. Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull is one of the most disappointing movies ever made. I can love things and still sort of have a realistic take on them. But even if that's not the case with you, even if you're like, dude, all that's great, but I fucking love Dread. That's great. Go love Dread. Go fucking make a baby with it. I don't care. It's my fucking review, motherfucker. I did not like it. I thought it was a poorly designed video game, in my opinion. There are things I bet we agree on. I bet we agree on overall Nintendo is one of the best game companies in the world. I bet we agree on that, don't we, fellas? You goddamn right. I bet we agree on, it's exciting to see what Kojima's going to do next. You goddamn right. I bet we agree on the fact that video games in 100 years will be the dominant form of art for everyone, not just gamers. Come on now, we have a lot in common, fellas. Let's not fight. But that said, this game, we can fight if you want to. I don't care, but it's silly. But that said, this is not a good game. People will look back at this game, mark my words, in 5 years. I'll still be here, mark my words, 5 years. People will look back and say, that was okay. That was okay. It's not a good game. Hope you're well. You like the thumbnail? I thought you would. Did you like that? I did that. I won the award, motherfucker. Come on, really? Do you know who has that award? I don't know. I gave it away. I don't care. I'm just a gamer like you, man. I'm just playing video games and buying them with my own ducats. I don't give a shit. I'm just giving you my thoughts. Do with them what you will. God, some people get so riled up. It's worrying a little bit. Goodbye. What do you mean it feels like watching a completely different Jaffe? What the fuck does that mean? Articulate your position, K-Nubs. You alcoholic fuck. He told me he was an alcoholic earlier, and he says, I've been sober for 2 weeks. And I said, that's great. Congratulations. And now I'm using it against him. You goddamn right. You goddamn right. What do you mean it feels like a totally different Jaffe? I did not end up liking the game. No, I did not. It was not for me. But I appreciate it. Ace, get up there if you want. I don't give a shit, you fucking weird dog. Come on now. I seemed more loopy. What do you mean, K-Nubs? Loopy, really interesting. Well, welcome back to the show. That was a little taste from the vault. There is what I like to call it. Hey, what do you mean you missed? Less jaded and more pure, you miss the old Jaffe? Well, what's different? You think I'm more jaded now? I've maybe because I've traveled the byways and highways of the internet, and I've learned I've learned a little something, a cab. I don't know. I seem spaced out, like I was high. No, I wasn't. Metroid Prime, we watched the Metroid Prime yesterday. The trailer, it really wasn't a great trailer. That's the truth. It's the truth. Lewis says, as someone who doesn't play 2D or Metroid games, when this was revealed, I was skeptical. When it came out, I thought it was one of the greatest games I've ever played. Yeah, I mean, that's great. If you love it, that's excellent. Okay. Fortnite. Let's move back to the news, shall we? Come on now. Fortnite Godzilla event. Think about this. This is kind of cool, man. I know a lot of you kids don't love the Fortnite, and that's fine, but I think it's great. Fortnite's long-awaited Godzilla event, that's my God, come on now, is nearly here. With a King Kong appearance and special skins, the event is hotly anticipated. Its release date is known, so here is a rundown. Ace, did you hear the news? Godzilla's coming to Fortnite. Are you excited? Ace, speak. He doesn't give a shit. Ace, speak. He's like, dude, I'm taking a nap, you son of a bitch. All right, let's see when it's coming out. It is coming out the 17th. That's 3 days away. January 14th featured downtime for the shooter as Epic prepares for the upcoming heavyweight battle. Maintenance. Now, he's been in Godzilla and King Kong have already been in Call of Duty before, which was pretty cool. It's the first hurdle as we prepare for Godzilla and King Kong. Keep checking back. That's all? No. And you see the skin already. That's kind of cool. You can get the skin. But do you guys remember when they had Kong and Godzilla in Call of Duty? That was pretty cool. Kong, Godzilla, Call of Duty. I was amazed they pulled that off. That's pretty neat. I mean, there were these giant fucking monsters walking around while you're playing fucking Call of Duty. I mean, that's cool, man. I'm sorry. I get we're all supposed to hate the Call of Duties and the Fortnites, hardcore gamers, blah, blah, blah. But, come on. No, Fortnite, I'm telling you, man, listen. Charles Darwin says, maybe I'm just old, but I've never had the urge to try Fortnite. It seems like a kid's game. Please try it. It's a really, really, really good fucking game. It is well made. You don't have to do any of the fucking bullshit building anymore. They have modes where that's removed. It is unfortunate if you are not experiencing it just because the art style. It's delightful. It's wonderful. Go play it. I highly look at that. That's so cool. Highly recommend it, man. Don't deny yourself. One of the best games ever made, or service games ever made. It's great. Okay. All right, but that's happening. That's happening this Friday. That might be a fun thing to stream on Friday when Godzilla rolls into town. We already talked about this. This coming to Game Pass. Lonely Mountains downhill multiplayer skiing sequel Snow Riders is out next week. All I'm telling you is I played the demo, and if you ever played the original, it is as addicting as downhill mountain biking. It is so fun. It is so addictive and just, it's neat, man. And what's cool about it is the camera perspective is isometric, right? So there's a real tension of, are you going to be able to sort of pull off tricks and do things that are going to build up points, but you run the risk of not remembering the path and what's coming up in front of you. And it's quite good. It's quite good, and I highly recommend it. And it looks like it's going to be more, what's the word? It's going to have more collectibles and achievements that you can kind of chase after. So there's more things to do. It is multiplayer, which is very, very cool. Very, very cool. So it's coming to Game Pass, man. I highly recommend it. And if any members want to hit the slopes with your Papa Jaffe sometime this weekend, I will do a stream where we can give this a play. It's good stuff. It's worth your time. Some good games coming out, boys. Dragon Age voice actor arrested after threatening ex with revenge porn. I don't know which actor this is. Does he do the male version of Rook? Let's see. Voice behind Dragon Age fan favorite knight and romanceable NPC Cullen Rutherford. Okay, so this is not from Dragon Age Veilguard then. Okay. Because it is interesting. There was also a actor who did motion capture for Kratos that I think the case was thrown out, but he was accused of either like kitty stuff or something that ended up being, I think they got rid of the case, or it was proven not to be accurate. But it is an interesting conundrum, right? I at first, when I saw this, because I had not read the story, I was like, oh, is this the Rook character? Now I'm playing a female Rook at this point, but I did start playing a male Rook, and it's like suddenly if I'm hearing the voice of my character and I know that guy who does the voice or that woman is a bad person, I'm laughing because Matthew said, did they arrest him for his performance? You're going to hell. You know, does it probably would pull me out of the game if I'm playing Metal Gear 1, you know, and the news came out that David Hayter was some kind of awful human. I don't know if I could, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't bother me. And it's not so much about separating the art from the artist, because when you're playing the character and I don't know, would it make a difference to you, or would you be like, okay, that sucks, they did it, but would it actually affect your ability to continue to play the game if the voice actor ended up being found guilty of some really terrible, horrible things, right? I would be curious if it would affect you. I think it would bother me. But I don't know. I've never, all I can do is kind of imagine it and pretend and go, would that be something that pulls me out? Sard says he wouldn't care. Okay. Who's with who's with Sard in this? Oh, by the way, yeah, if you want to call in the second half of the show, you can call in, share your views. I'll put up the link right here for you. Don't forget, by the way, speaking of call-ins, I'll be talking Thursday at 5:00 about the Switch 2 reveal, if it is revealed, and Indiana Jones with Victor Lucas of many, many things, but a lot of people know mostly from Electric Playground with Tommy Tallarico, and he's got a thriving YouTube channel as well. Brad Skagg says, I wouldn't care. Tech Protect says, I still listen to Kanye. Michael Jackson, I still listen to Michael Jackson, but Michael Jackson was not found guilty. He probably was guilty, but it's hard to say. Carlos says, I know one manga guy who was caught with a lot of kitty diddle stuff and made me not want to finish the series. Yeah, I hear you. Next Elder Scrolls music is going to be worse because Jeremy Soule got canceled during the Me Too movement. That will affect my enjoyment of the game, I assume. Doomslayer says, I don't care what these people do in real life. Yeah, but I hear you. I wonder if you're now listening to these voices, would it, I don't know. We'll have to find out. We'll see. But so far, none of my heroes, I don't think. Although I was disappointed to find out Neil Gaiman was kind of a scumbag, but you know, welcome to the club, I suppose. I guess they all are. Everybody, you know, you can't be famous for being creative and super successful without, you're probably famous for being creative because you're fucking dealing with all your demons. I don't know. Michael Jackson was not guilty, says Prince. We all know why he was targeted. Money and for buying. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it was all fake, the accusations. And he was found innocent. And I still listen to Michael Jackson music, and I don't know. It's tough. Depends, says bitrate on the severity of the crime. Why is Neil Gaiman a scumbag? I mean, look it up. It happened. The news kind of broke in July, but then it was confirmed yesterday in a New Yorker story. That would be terrible. Doomslayer says, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Keanu Reeves turns out to be a scumbag. I don't think it's a celebrity thing, although it can be, but yeah, I hear you. Okay. RPG says the part of Michael Jackson having kids in his bed was true. It's what he did we don't know. It's hard to say. He could have just been mentally fucked up. I don't know. All right, let's move forward though, shall we? Let's get to some news. I think Genius has come up with terrible ideas too. This is from PC Gamer. Former senior artist at Bethesda says, hey, Todd Howard, remember Todd Howard? He's like George Lucas. He has complete creative control. And so a lot of people, I guess, don't want to tell him no. And they don't want to, basically step in and say, I know you got all the power, but settle the fuck down. Look, I will tell, first off, all you have to do is watch the documentaries about George Lucas making the new trilogy, the prequels. And I forget, Rick McCullum, I think his name was, the producer. It was just, he was such a, yes, George. Oh, George is a genius. It's just like, dude. And part of it was PR, and part of it's like, you should have been able to stand up and say no to this guy. And if you couldn't, you're not doing your job. I have hired Tech Protect as a producer. If Tech Protect doesn't stand up and say, Jaffe, that's a dumb idea, he's not doing his job when I have ideas he thinks are dumb. Or no one who actually is interested in actual success wants to be around yes people. It's just dumb. It's a bad idea. Anybody with experience knows that. And so it sounds like, so I get the struggle. Man. It's hard. And it's hard when you've had a lot of big success, even at my level. After I had my biggest success, that was God of War, it wasn't that I was arrogant. I just kind of thought, okay, I got this. And I really should have listened. I'll tell you, there was a guy on the God of War team. Enough time has passed. I'll tell this story. What I should not God of War, Drawn to Death. What I should have done on Drawn to Death was recognize that I was not the guy to be the key designer on a multiplayer shooter. I was the key guy to be the creative director and the writer. Absolutely. But I should have recognized that you're out of your depth in this genre. And we had a great animation lead, guy named Chris, who's still doing great. And he, even though I don't think he wanted to be a designer, he would frustrate me to no end because he was the nicest guy, remains a nice guy, but he would always push back on things. And I think I just found it frustrating. And it's really hard when you've had success because of your creative ideas, especially if those creative ideas are outside the box. Like God of War was intentionally meant to be my response to how disappointed I was that most action adventure games were not as adventure-y as I wanted them to be. So I consciously made choices with the team to do things that Capcom wouldn't do in Devil May Cry or even Onimusha, and that worked out. So when you have people that are saying after you've had that kind of success, that's not the way to do it, or I don't like that, it's hard to know, oh, you're just an old school inside the box thinker and all you want to do is make what's already out there versus they're actually telling you something you should listen to. Like, I don't know if there's a solve to that, because once you've had that success, how do you know? How can you tell if when someone is pushing back, they're pushing back because they're right or they're pushing back because they don't see your vision? And I certainly never solved it. And it absolutely caused Drawn to Death, I think, to absolutely tank. Absolutely 100%. So I understand at a much smaller, less successful level what they're talking about with Todd. There's an interview. He says, the writer of the article talking about the interview with the artist says, while the comparison in the headline might not seem flattering at first blush, in the interest of fairness, he speaks very positive about Todd Howard. He says, I love Todd. I do. He's one of the greatest influences on my life. This man has been a mentor, a guide. He's been patient. So a lot of what I am, he helped shape that. Is he perfect? No. The guy continues. Does he call the shots perfectly? No. He recounts a couple of times where he disagreed with Todd Howard on key issues. And while he says he felt comfortable bringing them up, if he felt strongly, he does admit that a lot of people were afraid to say no to Todd. And I think that ended up hurting him. He says it's like George Lucas. Lucas, I think, is a genius. I think geniuses come up with terrible ideas too. They're not going to all be hits. But if you don't have someone to help you filter and give you an honest assessment because they're afraid to tell you what they think, it does hurt you. It's a troubling, it's a real troubling thing that I've never figured out how to solve. Carlos says, Jaffe, did you play multiplayer shooters back then before Drawn to Death? Casually. I played them enough to know that I thought I could do them better because there were things I didn't like about them. And I think some of those thoughts were and remain valid. I just don't think that I had enough of a I was wrong. That was why it suffered, basically. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's to me, it's very, very interesting. How do you resolve that issue? Oh, you know what? I have to wrap up the stream right now. I have a virtual doctor's appointment I have to go to. Hang on one second. I totally forgot. I have to go to this doctor's appointment. Okay. So listen, here's the deal. Oh, wait. Could you even hear any of that? You couldn't even hear any of that. Here's the point. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I'm running to my doctor's appointment. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the memberships. Thank you for the phone calls and the good conversation. I will be back later tonight at 6 o'clock with the Proper Gabbing Games. I'll bring Plazookas back on if he's in the chat. We will get to Transformers. We will get to the afternoon news of the day that has broken. And in the meantime, though, that's the show. And Tech Protect, I'll call you after my appointment. Be well, be safe, and thank you guys very, very much. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me and talking games. Bye, y'all.